Welcome to Campfire Wisdom. Grab a seat around the fire and tell us your story.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Campfire Wisdom. I had a chance to go back to Tucson a few weeks ago and spend some time with my parents, and I had seen this post on social media with some questions that they recommend you ask your parents. You know, my parents are aging, so it's very important to me. I feel like I'm the family historian. But there's some questions I wanted to sit down and ask them, but also just, get a chance to have some good quality time with my parents. They're getting older. I want to take advantage of that while I can. And what you're about to listen to is the result of those interviews. So this episode, we are going to start with my mom, Brigitte. Campfire Wisdom, the goal of it is to try to build connection through camping and being outdoors and all that stuff. But it's kind of, I'm reviving it in a new way just because I used to camp so much more when I didn't have kids, right?
Right.
I could go on a weekend and just show up at a campsite, and so it's super easy. It now requires more planning and more connecting and all that stuff, but I want to...
But you could teach... I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
You could ultimately teach your kids that it could be that way too.
Yeah, totally.
To learn to go with the flow, so to speak.
Yeah.
That if you can develop that in kids, wow, that's a big gift you could give them.
Like spontaneity.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think ultimately when they get older, it would be. I see it being really easy. If it's a Friday night and they don't have school, and Geese has to work, and hey, you guys want to just go camp for a night somewhere?
Right.
Just pick up and go.
Right.
But obviously at their age...
Do you have enough sites to go?
There are enough sites,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I don't have enough gear.
Got it.
Or I should take that back. I had enough gear, but vehicles, we couldn't do it with my car.
Okay.
I couldn't fit. That's part of the reason why I found once I get a permanent forever job, I want to get some new wheels for myself.
Right.
That's down the line, obviously.
Right.
But what's come of it lately is just trying to encourage other people to get outdoors.
Yeah.
I'm kind of talking to myself.
Right.
When I'm talking to other people, but I'm also realizing that.
And then they'll help take care of nature more too.
Yeah. Right.
Because if they're out there, they'll see the value of it.
Absolutely.
And because that's part of what I think we need to impart in the younger generation is how to take care of this planet.
True. Because if you start there, that's going to automatically lead to people who want to take care of the planet more, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It goes without saying.
Yeah. And I think ultimately, if they pick it up themselves, great. I know I have some friends whose kids don't like camping at all. They're I hope it's not the case. But the few times we've gone, the kids love it. So I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Okay.
And if they don't, then that's fine too. I guess I'll have to be with that.
You have to disown them.
Yeah, Otto. Yeah, no, exactly. No, Otto loves it. And the last time, Opal had a hard time going to sleep.
Oh.
But I think that's just because I don't think she was feeling great, and I think we don't have the best sleeping situation figured out. So that's what I gotta tackle next.
Okay.
I also want the podcast to be a catalog of. When the kids are older, they could go back and listen to what I was doing. They could watch what I was doing. They'll hear this conversation.
Okay, yeah.
So that it lives forever.
It lives forever. Yeah, cool. Yeah. I wonder how their memory will work over the...
It's true, because the newer generation is not really...
Forced to remember as much. Right.
We had to remember phone numbers.
I know. Yeah, right. It just... You just... Call up the name and there it is, I think you're right.
Even navigating, when we drive someplace, I mentally, if I go there twice, I know how to get there. But some people still constantly rely on their navigation. From start to finish,
From start to finish.
How did you decide to name me? What's the...
I wish I had a good story with that. I don't.
Okay.
I really have no idea how we came up with that name. Now maybe your dad has an idea,
Okay.
but I know we did like a single syllable, and that's why it's kind of funny when we sometimes joke around with you when we call you Gregor. Yeah, it's like because Chris was Kristen, so that was already a 2-syllable name.
Okay.
Now he was named after somebody.
Yeah.
But wasn't anybody in our lives that had that name.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know where it came from. To
From
be
the
honest.
ether. Was it a name you had liked? Like,
Yeah.
if you think about it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I can't associate it with somebody.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Let's put it that way.
No, but even the why you chose it. So,
Right.
So because it was 1 syllable.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely a preference.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's Kristen and Greg.
Yeah. Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then even later, Brian is a 2-syllable also. So is Jenny.
Yeah.
And then we ended up with Ross.
Yeah. But did you specifically avoid like names like Victoria and Alexander?
Oh yeah.
You didn't like long names.
No. And I have no idea even how for example, Brian, I have no idea how that name came about. Jenny I do, and Ross I do. So.
Okay. How did Jenny's come about?
Jenny's came about that, and unfortunately we goofed up on the spelling, but I had her. I don't know if it was if I had seen a biography or something about Winston Churchill,
Okay.
and it mentioned how he was raised by a very strong woman, and her name was Jenny.
Okay.
And there were other things I don't remember the details about her,
Okay.
but for some reason it resonated with me,
Okay.
So but it would have been without the Y. It was just I think it was just IE.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that, so yeah.
Yeah, that would be the British way to do it.
Yeah,
right? Jenny.
but that definitely, and then her middle name was Ruth,
Mm-hmm.
and that was after a friend of mine in high school, Ruth Bristow,
Okay.
and she died like of ovarian cancer, like in the mid-30s when she was in her
geez.
30s. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She was she left behind a little boy.
She died young. Geez.
She died young, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, we were at our 10th high school reunion, so that's 34. Yeah, she died before she was 40.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Wow.
in her 30s, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because she and her husband were at the reunion. Yeah, so I'm sure he was a young kid, her son would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
And Ross we knew too, because that was also after a person at the church in Racine. The Andersons had a son named Ross,
Okay.
and the Andersons were wonderful people. Ross was okay. I mean, it's not like, oh, he's such a cool dude, but that's where that name Ross came up for us,
The Andersons, the family was great.
Yeah.
And the name Ross was there.
Yeah, and Ross was their son, and he went on to law school, blah, blah. So, yeah, but the name, now my dad hated the name.
I remember you telling me that.
Because the word Ross is the word of a horse.
Oh, in German.
In German, yeah. So
You say Ross?
Yeah, Ross, yeah.
So how would you say Eine Ross or
No, just Ross.
Ross?
Ross, yeah.
Horse.
It's an Ross, yeah. So he just kind of,
Okay.
he just really objected to that, Yeah.
How about my middle name? How about Alan?
Oh, that was easy. That
Okay.
was the father of Ross Anderson.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
His name was Alan.
So
Yeah, oh my God, was the coolest dude. He was the director of admissions at Carthage College in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And that family was a member of Bethania, our church.
Okay, gotcha.
Nicest man.
Okay.
Yeah, that was easy. Spelled that way, Alan.
Okay.
Not double L's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so they were like when you came to Bethania Church, they like welcomed you and just really nice people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Very nice. Very. Yeah. Totally cool.
Like salt of the earth kind of.
Yeah.
people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Did they like invite you to their house and have dinner and stuff like that?
Not so much. We were not so much. I don't think that was, just general interaction with them, you know. Yeah. Strong in their faith.
Okay.
You could learn from them,
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously they were older than us, So,
Yeah.
I
What was his wife's name?
I know, you just had to ask that. I'm trying, and she was there the last time we were in Bethania. She was there, and I bet she's on my phone somewhere. I can't remember her name now.
They probably passed, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Alan had already been gone. She was like in her 90s.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So.
When was the last time you were at Bethania?
It would have been when I was there for, what was it? Oh, when it was the 50th year of the Case High School existence. So 66, 16? 2016?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's about right.
Did you go back there in 2016?
We did.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
we did.
Cool.
Anderson, where are you? Irma.
Okay, cool.
Yep, Irma Anderson.
Cool. That's an old school name. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't hear that too much.
Yeah, IRMA.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, now they got such crazy names out there.
I know.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of I know it sounds very rigid, but the fact that Germany has rules about naming their kids, it's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
I know.
I heard that, yeah. Yeah, Germany has rules about many things.
True. All right, so what's your happiest memory of raising me?
Oh, wow.
I know that's probably hard to think about, but...
Yeah, those questions need to be asked earlier in life. But now it's like, oh, heck.
I know. Well, I guess when we're fancy free, we don't think about mortality as much. We don't think about remembering things.
No.
It just kind of happens.
Well, it's kind of, I think I've said to you before also, I wish, or the questions that I have had in the last 10 years maybe about family, there's nobody around to ask. You wish but you didn't have those questions back then.
I know.
Yeah,
True.
it's just how life works, I guess. Human nature,
True.
So, the happiest memory, that is really tough.
You can come back to that too.
Well, and the thing is, maybe it's also not the happiest, but maybe one of.
Yeah, maybe it's the most clear memory you can grab.
Because and I mean that and that is actually, I think, when we when you were in Germany.
That's so funny. I was going to say that
in 1999.
Yeah.
And when we were walking the cemetery trying to find my grandmother's grave.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
I kind of had a memory once where her sister was buried. Remember that was the whole thing. And then we had dinner afterward. And we had a most wonderful meal.
Yeah. And I had what's a little Pfeffernusse?
Pfefferlinge.
Pfefferlinge.
The mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're orangey kind of color.
Oh, so good. I remember I had an apple.
Yeah, and you had been really feeling crappy.
Yeah.
But that meal did you in well.
Yeah, I do remember
But
that.
actually that whole experience, I think that's one of my, of course it's a little bit more recent than your growing up years,
Totally.
So.
Totally. But in some ways, it's like learning about you back then. Like I remember being in that apartment building and knocking on those people's door and going inside.
Yeah.
And I remember you said that there was a window you used to stand on and they would be doing the laundry in that room.
Right.
And so that the vision of a bunch of people, well, for sure back then, women, right? Mm-hmm. Guys weren't helping doing that stuff.
No.
It was all the women down there doing the laundry, right?
Yeah, well, it would be maybe one or two people only, from the apartment complex. Yeah. Yeah,
I do remember that and we found it eventually.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
And then...
I know.
And because I do remember you said it was something on the corner, you remembered you remembered the position it was
Yeah.
in the cemetery.
Right,
That
right,
helped, actually.
right. Yeah,
I forgot about
yeah.
that.
I think it was a miracle that we did find it, to be honest.
I know. We should have like broken a piece off of it or something. You know?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
hindsight.
Yeah, in
That
hindsight.
probably would have been potentially definitely a crime in Germany.
Yeah,
but
right. Yeah, yeah.
That was fun. And then being in Rugen and like getting all those pastries.
Yeah. That was. Yeah,
I remember that meal with the blood sausage. That was really
yeah.
good.
And Leberwurst,
Yeah.
the liver sausage as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
combination. Yeah.
It's funny because that meal, I remember it was Jaeger Schnitzel with the Pfefferlinge on it with like some type of sauce with it.
Yeah. They make that in the sauce.
Because
Seasonal.
Pfefferlinge is a very seasonal
It's very
thing, right?
yes, very seasonal. Yes.
And then
Yeah.
I never forget, I decided to have some alcohol. It was like an apple cider
Yeah.
beer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was good. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, I think that would definitely. Yeah. But that's 26 years ago, right? Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
99.
Yeah, 1999.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That was cool.
Yeah. Interesting that you sort of had a similar idea, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's because it's just like a ping, like what's a memory you think about? Ding! Oh, that one, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely one. You know, I mean, I was trying to imagine, you know, as if I could imagine seeing you running around or doing something, you know, but, I suppose maybe second would be maybe when you got your Eagle Scout thing, you know,
Yeah.
the culmination of all that, you know.
Yeah. Like the process of it or the Court of Honor for it?
The Court of Honor, I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
That's funny. I don't remember the Court of Honor.
Well, I don't remember it
Yeah. But
per se.
You mean the process of
Yeah,
earning
so I
that.
guess it is the process then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
For me, finishing things was always, I would start a bunch of stuff so I wouldn't finish it. Then as I got older, I recognized that, so it became critical that I finished it. That was like finishing college. Took forever, right?
Right.
Finishing my Eagle Scout, I did it at the buzzer. Even what's in the AFK? It's like I did all that work, and then I was like in Tucson. I was like, I can't just like sit on this. I have to. That's what made me move. You know, I was like, I have to finish this.
Yeah.
So that was the impetus. Wasn't like I had to get away or whatever. 'Cause,
Are you better at that now? Or is
Yeah.
that still your tendency?
No, I'm way better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm way better. And in fact, if I won't start something unless I know I can commit proper time to it.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Okay.
Like, but I don't feel like it limits me. I feel like it makes me very cognizant of the commitment that is required to do that.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Like, even teaching, there's so many hoops to jump through to be a teacher. But I saw down the line, I was like, fuck. I have to finish this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously when you're going through that process, you're like, oh man, I hope I love what I'm going to be doing at the end.
Right.
Thankfully I do.
Yeah.
So now
yeah.
it's just making that happen. But what's something you've never told me but always wanted to say?
Oh. Something. Okay. Say it again.
Something you've never told me but always wanted to say. I am the mailman's kid.
I know, you know, and I'll get back to that. But there was somebody once. They were told something, and it was never true, and it really gave them all kinds of hang-ups. And I can't remember what the circumstance, it was something I saw. And it made me realize, I said, gosh, we always joked about that. And I wondered, did you ever really take it to heart? But
Oh, interesting.
But I thought we were always really so clear that it was a joke. That it was in relationship that you did not have red hair, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing, you know?
No, it's funny. I will say that, like, initially, because Chris used it more as a weapon sometimes
yeah?
when he was younger.
Oh, yeah?
But it didn't bother me.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe when I was really young, but then at one point, I just remember being assured that wasn't the case. Obviously not.
Well, and I don't think we ever would have said it to you when you were a little kid. You might have overheard it.
Right.
Yeah.
But then at the time, I remember thinking, Ivan, like, wait, Ivan the mailman?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not his kid.
Okay.
So then it became, I like being different from everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or the really older days would be the milkman when they still delivered milk.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's true. That's true.
But anyway, I mean, and that was a fairly recent thing. I was thinking, oh my gosh, maybe we really damaged him,
No.
But I think we didn't say it to you directly. You might have, or, we would say it to other, I don't know. Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't realize the phrase is it the milkman's kid or the mailman?
Yeah, I think we used it either one.
It's either one.
Yeah.
But the milkman, you're right. That the scandal comes there because the milkman used to deliver milk to wives when they were home alone. Okay, gotcha. Interesting.
It could be, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, the mailman was at least working, right? And
exactly.
had many others, yeah.
We can move on to.
I
come back to that.
Yeah.
And if we don't have anything for it, that's fine. How about this one? This is a pretty good one. Hardest lesson life ever taught you?
Hardest lesson life ever taught me. And I think at least it's pretty, it may not be the hardest. That you're a parent for life. I think actually it was probably the hardest lesson.
Yeah.
I think I sort of assumed, once you're 18, it ends. And I mean, it changes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't end. And I think that came about because my parents, they moved back to Germany, so they weren't around to be parents anymore.
Yeah.
So we didn't have the lessons to learn from other people, and why it's also so hard. First of all, that you are a parent for life, and at the same time, that role changes totally. You're no longer the influencer and all of that. And how to be a parent to adult children. That's a big thing too. Not easy.
True.
Because you see them doing things that you you wouldn't do, and so you tend to first be disapproving, but then you learn realizing, well, wait a minute, that's their choice, so I have nothing to say, and in essence, I have nothing to say,
True.
And but I think that's really difficult, how to be a parent to adult children.
Yeah, that's interesting because if you think about it, your parents left, and so they did basically turn it off. I mean, you still talk to them and all that stuff.
Yeah, but those were the years too, though. To cell phone. I mean, there were no. Now you can pick up. It's so easy.
Yeah.
But that wasn't then. It was It was a big deal to make a long distance phone call. It was expensive. And it was just on a weekend. You did it maybe once a month, if that. Yeah. And then everything else was by letter, writing letters, or you did photographs. You included the photographs of the kids.
I know, it was so much more cumbersome.
It was totally, yeah. And but I mean, it was their choice to go there, But I carried resentments about that for a long time.
Oh yeah, I would totally get that.
Felt totally abandoned, which is stupid because here I'm an adult myself, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, you probably had friends whose mom was around.
Oh yeah, totally.
And even us, I mean, with
all
grandkids, we got shortchanged.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally.
And really, it was probably I don't know. It was led by your dad, right?
Yes, it was.
He wanted to have his life.
Right. Yeah. So it's I mean, I never had anybody help out with kids
Yeah.
other than a paid babysitter, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because we were such a small family, you know.
True.
It meant so. Yeah.
I
wasn't.
know it's funny. We were large, but in the inner nucleus, but then on the outer,
Nothing,
small.
right?
True.
My brother alone has
Yeah.
no children.
I know,
Dad an only child.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
true.
yeah. So
I think that's why so many, like Brian and I and Jenny, like we cling to family because it's like we liked it.
yeah,
We liked
right,
that.
right.
And in some ways, we saw what other people had when we were younger.
Yeah,
And we're like, let's foster that. You know?
right,
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, I would totally understand feeling abandoned. It's like, because I feel like over the years, I've come to you and Dad for a great many things. Much hanging out in moments like this, like we've done this countless times.
No,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
and not having that, like,
Yeah.
I feel like I really know you and Dad well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if do you feel like you know your parents well or not really?
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I mean, and also, felt. I mean, there was a lady at church once. She lost her mother, and every time she talked about her, she still would tear up. And I was thinking, gosh, she had really a close relationship with her mother.
Yeah.
I didn't. I never really had a relationship with my mother, adult.
Yeah. It was all.
I went off to college.
Yeah.
And then I was living in Racine for a year, and then they left. 2 years I left. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I've mourned Joan more than I mourned my mother.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
But because there was much more of a relationship with Joan,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
wasn't that with my mom,
Yeah.
Yeah. Or my dad.
Yeah, true.
Oh my God, my dad not either.
Yeah. I know it was so bizarre. I remember you finding out about Opa's death, and I remember I almost felt obligated to cry.
Oh really?
Yeah, I was, but I was more sad about. Oh, now I'm never gonna know him.
Oh
for
right,
sure.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. And I found that out in a letter, or whatever it was, and he'd already been gone a week or two.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, because he was in a home there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
They didn't have the wherewithal to call.
no. And I had called them, so I mean, before, to talk to my dad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They
I know.
don't know. That's insane.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, I got what they in Germany they do is they have a black rim around the letters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Around the envelope.
On the envelope. Then
Wow.
you're getting a notification
Do you
about
still have that
somebody's
letter?
death. I don't think I do.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
don't. Yeah. But
Wow,
yeah,
interesting.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
The thing we've talked about is like we spend our entire lives like we want to train our kids to be strong, right? To be independent, to survive without us, because the last thing we want them to do is to just fall apart when we're no longer there, right?
Right.
So we spend our entire life, and I actually saw this as a quote. It was like, we spend our entire lives training our children not to need us. It's like, in some ways, you missed out on that second half, right? Because there's so much. You guys have guided me a lot in the years since I've been an adult. I've asked, totally.
Okay.
I mean, not the solitary force, but I consider you guys input, and things for sure.
Yeah.
But missing out on that would suck. That would not be cool.
In some ways, see, you guys are all missing out on witnessing how to take care of the elderly, because our elderly, dads were gone, and mine left. Also, so you didn't see us being caregivers to our parents. How to do that.
Right, but they also didn't share what was going on with them.
No.
So you weren't prepared.
No. Right.
Like, did your dad have MD?
No. Actually, my mother's mom, my grandmother.
Okay,
She did. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Omi.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
okay.
she was Oma. Omi
she
was
your
my
mom.
dad's grandmother.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
We
gotcha.
called her Omi.
Oh, okay,
She was short in stature.
gotcha.
But anyway, yeah, so that's how it's supposed to be. That's how I see life. That generation we learn from each other,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah. Like, perfect example, we were at Legoland, and I know for sure, I'm like, we just created lifelong memories. And actually, Geese and I talked about it. I was like, good job today, Mom. I was like, we should pat ourselves on the back because I guarantee you the kids will never forget this trip.
Okay.
For sure. It'll be ingrained in their memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was cool, but it's like along those lines, when you have those moments of ecstasy, I'll say, right?
Yeah.
Like, yes. You realize, oh, someday they're going to be gone.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what I mean? You have
Yeah.
to like,
Yeah.
you have to like soak it up
Yeah.
because those moments are
Yeah.
precious.
Yeah. Well, I think probably what really one next hardest too was just how to become a parent. You know, just didn't really. Yeah, you just don't have lessons on that, right?
True.
You know.
True.
And you know, and it didn't always, it didn't always have the greatest role models.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, so that's why, it wasn't until after you were born. Yes, when we moved to South Dakota, actually, and then I immediately joined a La Leche group,
Yeah.
even though I wasn't needing that support, but it was the atmosphere, the kind of parenting that they were doing
Yeah.
is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't want to do what your parents did.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You recognize like, oh, I want to do something different.
Yeah, right, exactly. But not knowing
Yeah.
how to do it
Yeah.
per se. You just you get glimpses of how others do it, but it's
True.
whereas this was just totally an atmosphere of what we always said, positive parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started with breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think how to be selfless, right? When you're raising children.
True. And not put your agenda on them.
Right. Yeah. You have to step back,
I know.
Yeah, and it's not always easy.
It's hard on days when I pick up the kids, like,
I would think it'd be hard for you, especially because you had so many more years under your belt of being yourself,
yeah.
not a parent,
Yeah.
much more ingrained how to live your life.
True.
According to Greg,
Yeah.
Now it's according to Greg the dad,
True.
as well as spouse and all that,
Yeah. For me, it's a conscious shift, like, because I could come home and if, get the kids fed, get all his homework done. So if I pick them up at 4:30, for a while it was like, all right, they're going to go to bed at 6. So I have an hour and a half to like feed them. So it's like, all right, you guys aren't eating fast enough. Eat faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it became this like race, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. So I consciously am okay with things happening. And don't get me wrong, I still screw up, and I'm like, come on, guys, and I'm like, oh, don't do that to them, So I really have to like make an effort to like be in those moments where I have an agenda. I have to recognize that this is the overall goal, but also I want them to be themselves in that process. I don't want to like, let's go, hurry up. Because what happens is if I do that, I'm like, Otto, I've asked you 3 times to put your shoes away, and I really need you to put your shoes away, which is a nice way to ask, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll still be like, Dad, you hurt my feelings. And so I'll be like,
You say tough shit.
I know, and he can't. So then I go to him and I hug him. And I'm like, oh, buddy, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings, but I have asked you like 3 or 4 times to put your stuff away. Can you put your shoes away now? Okay. But
You should not get your feelings hurt just because I say it 3 times, right?
I know.
Yeah.
But I think they're learning that difference, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
He's got to be careful not to use that everywhere. You hurt my feelings.
Well, no, I want him to be in touch with his feelings, you know?
Yeah, but yeah.
He's 6.
Yeah.
He's gonna. I don't need to be the one that's gonna teach him like, hey, don't talk about your feelings.
Okay. Yeah, you're not going to be that one.
No.
Somebody will be there. Yeah.
I'm sure he's gonna be with his friends, and there's gonna be a friend of his that is like,
Yeah, and if he says that, so what, right?
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, I guess it really only matters with my dad. Okay. And that sucks that that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
know it.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But I do want him to be conscious of it, because I know for myself, as a kid, I wasn't able to articulate how I was feeling, so I would hit somebody or I'd have a temper about it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think if I had said, even now, like, as an adult, I'll be mad at my wife about something, and then I realize, oh, I just need to tell her, hey, babe, the way you said that hurt my feelings. And she'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. So I need to voice that, you know?
Yeah.
I personally have not been historically good at that, so I think that's why I make sure my son is.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's not going to hurt.
No.
Until it does.
Right, but that's something we all have to deal with, right?
Yeah, we do. Right.
Yeah, I can't protect him from that.
No, you can't.
There's an interesting quote that I actually kind of like, and it's true in some ways, but you can raise strong kids or you can raise safe kids.
Oh.
Right? So, but you can't do both.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right?
Oh.
And
yeah.
I want to protect my kids, right? But I can't protect them for everything. I have to let them be.
Right.
So I can only prepare them. Hey, know how you're feeling, understand how you're feeling, deal with how you're feeling, but recognize
but it won't make a difference in this
instance. It may not make a
instance.
difference in the real world.
Right.
But obviously, I can't have that conversation with a 6-year-old.
No,
but if he comes to me at 10 and says, I told
Yeah.
Jason how I was feeling, he laughed in my face. I'm like, well, you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did that make you feel?
Uh-huh.
Blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
blah, blah.
Some
right.
people are going to do that.
Yeah.
And how would you handle that? You know?
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting because it's like, I know, like, my son is tender-hearted, right? So he's not like the kid running around who's bullying other kids, and I'm glad about that.
Right.
But I know at some point, some kid's going to take advantage of my son's kindness.
Yes.
And when that does,
yes.
I hope I'm there to guide him through that process. And I hope I don't lose my shit because I'll be mad
at the other person who did it.
Totally,
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
Or you can do, or it can be both. You can be mad at the other person and be supportive.
I know. I handled when I was dating Nikki. Gosh, this is years ago, but we were at a park, and her daughter Taylor was balancing on this like
teeter-totter.
No, it was like wooden posts that were around the park.
Okay.
So she was stepping from wooden post to wooden post. They're right next to each other.
Oh, okay.
But some little boy just came up and pushed her off of it.
Oh, okay.
And I'll never forget. I just went up to the boy and I growled at the little boy, and then I grabbed Taylor and we left because I was like, I'm gonna get in trouble for that. So that was like not a good moment for me because I was like, oh my God, this little kid just pushed this little girl that I love. But luckily that hasn't happened with my kids, but
yeah, right. So far.
Well, actually, there's been times where kids have pushed them out of the way, and I'm like, you got to tell them, excuse me, or hey, I don't like that way you did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to tell them what's up.
Yeah.
But I won't always be there.
No. And to be more sensitive is difficult.
Yeah, because
in this world,
it is. It's too bad.
Yeah, it is.
You have to have I guess the thick hide everyone talks about. How do you develop that as healthy as possible?
Right.
In a healthy manner.
No. There's lots of pitfalls. Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, this might roll right perfect into this. What's one piece of advice you wish you had taken when you were younger?
I know what it is. It is too, because I don't think I enjoyed my children. I think it was really hard
Okay.
for me to manage, and like that it really is what it is. The more I think about it, and it's not. I think you heard the statement, the advice: enjoy them while they're young, or something
Like
to
being
that
in
effect.
the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and
Okay.
I think it was some of the photographs that Jenny shared when, or that you share, that you're clearly enjoying your children.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say that I enjoyed my children. That's really sounds very negative,
No, but it might be kind of what I mentioned earlier. Like you were task oriented.
Yes.
Like it was more about getting things done. As
Right,
opposed to,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And, all those years, Dad work schedule,
Yeah.
I mean, I know I held a lot of resentments there. And at the same time, I would berate myself for being resentful because by his kind of work, it did allow me to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
But we were never rolling in the dough or anything, But it was hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard.
Yeah. So the one advice you would give is like lean into the young years of the
Yes,
kids.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
just so you know, that I've heard that from everybody. Like Ike says, I wish I had leaned into it more.
Yeah,
Adam says, like everybody that I know.
yeah, just to sit on the floor and play with them.
Yeah.
Or I know I did some,
Yeah.
but not like I could have. Yeah. And to just enjoy being in the moment at that time, rather than maybe, all right, I'll give you 10 minutes, then I got to go off and do this,
I know.
that kind of, because that's really not being in the moment, not enjoying the moment,
I know,
if
yeah.
you already have an agenda,
Yeah.
or you're doing this because I have to.
Yeah.
That's probably much more so that what I did too,
Yeah.
I have to do this.
Yeah.
I felt it was important for kids not to be in daycare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The fact that we couldn't have afforded it anyway, but
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But but it was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. In fact, we talk about it all the time. It's like with two kids, when Geese is gone for a day and then she's home, I'm like, oh, thank God. It's both of us with them,
Uh-huh.
And only because it's just like, then you can be, because without a doubt, when they're both there, they're getting more attention.
Right.
I mean,
Well, yeah.
mathematically, right?
Right.
There's two parents,
Right.
there's two kids.
Right.
They're getting
Right.
more attention.
Right.
So it's better. And if it's you and 5 kids, you can't possibly give them all the attention, right?
No.
Mom, I need this.
No,
I'm
right,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm in the middle of this.
Yeah,
I
right.
can't help you right now.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
I know.
Yeah. Or to look for the opportunities to enjoy them more. Yeah. Enjoy would be the word that I don't think I could say that I enjoyed my children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That sounds really harsh.
Yeah, I think it's just making the time, right?
Yeah, making the time that it's only about them or him or her, whatever, whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one at a time I probably did more enjoy it, but that didn't present itself all that much either, because you can't be off with one. What do you do with the others?
True.
That kind of
True.
thing. Or it just wasn't, it just was difficult to do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I recognize that you guys made efforts to do that because remember we would do like breakfast with Mom or lunch with Dad.
Yeah, but
Like,
that came later.
That could come later.
That came
but,
later. You're right. Yeah, we did do that. Yeah.
But I think obviously had that never been there, then that would have been something different, right?
Right.
And we do that, like, there are some days where Geese will take Otto and I'll take Opal.
Yeah,
and
I've
we
seen
have,
your
like,
phone. Yeah, right. No, to do
Yeah.
it at a younger age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they do act different, like when they're solo. Yeah.
Yep. Well, and you can talk different. You talk about different things when
Totally.
you're yourself when it's just one of them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's been a lot of times where if Otto wants to throw the frisbee out front, so we're throwing the frisbee, but then Opal wants to inevitably be part of it, but she wants to do it like, all right, Dad, throw me the frisbee, and then I'm going to kind of throw it back to you, but then I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to bring the frisbee. Like, she kind of like wants to do this whole elaborate thing. I know, and then Otto doesn't want to do that. He's like,
No.
and so it's just a ticking time bomb that one of them is going to get upset, and it's usually Opal.
Yeah. And
then she'll leave in a huff.
Yeah.
She puts her head down and storms off and cries. But it's interesting. They're so different in some cases. They always want to do stuff, so I gotta. Otto's usually better at asking me what to do stuff, and then Opal wants to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, so I realize I need to make. Opal, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Me and you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or maybe you can set a timer. For half an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be short amount. Half an hour. It's just you and.
Oh, that's even too long. Like 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Because they want to.
Okay.
If we'll throw the frisbee for 10 minutes, and he's done.
Okay. And maybe you can just do that. Then say, Opal, you go find something, and when I'm done with Otto, then I'll do something with you.
Yeah, that's true.
Individual.
Yeah. She's been putting makeup on.
Oh yeah, and then maybe it'd be the best thing because of the age that you do it with her first.
Yeah, true.
And then, because Otto is able to wait a little bit better than she is.
Absolutely, that's good advice. Yeah.
First, do something special with her.
Yeah.
And to do that actually on one day, not like today you played frisbee and tomorrow you might do Opal. No, the same day.
Yeah.
Would make more sense, so they can see that you've taken time for each.
Yeah, true.
Because by the next day, that's forgotten.
True.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the question again about what did I not?
Oh, the one that we
something that I haven't answered.
Yeah.
Is about
something you've never told me, but always wanted to say.
But I always wanted to say. Gee, I'm sure I've told you that we're proud of how you are living your life. Or it's not about proud. I'm sorry. I really hate that word.
I know.
So
yeah.
That you do know, right? Yes.
Yeah. It's funny because we always try to teach Otto like, oh, I'm proud of you, but we shifted that to you should be proud of yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because remember, when they screw up, you don't want to take the blame.
I know, that's true.
Remember, I've said that over and over again.
It's true.
Your dad has a problem with that. I know. The word.
True.
Yeah. But I truly believe, you need to create your own sense of pride over things,
Mm-hmm.
That how do you feel? If somebody asks, how do you feel about it? Mm-hmm. If a kid comes up to you and says, are you proud of me?
I know.
To put it right back to,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I like that you did this, this sense of pride.
I know, but it even comes up like Opal shows me a picture, and I'm like, it's amazing. Oh my God, it looks so good. Like, Geese and I have talked about it. It's like, no, let's try not to do that. Let's like, that's awesome. How does it make you feel?
Yeah.
Like, try to redirect.
Yeah, or tell me more about it.
Tell me about it. How does it? Yeah, exactly. Tell me about it. How does it make you feel? As opposed to, oh, I'm so proud of you doing this.
Oh,
right.
No.
Yeah.
And also, like, even if they are practicing sitting still, you just say, I'm glad you're sitting still, or something, rather than I'm proud of you for being sitting still, of how you eat it, or something,
True.
Yeah. It's, to describe. And to have them describe what they've done, created,
absolutely.
Is really the better way.
Yeah,
those are things that you learn later on.
What's one thing you hope I never forget about you?
Something that I hope that you will never forget about me.
One thing that you hope I will never forget about you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And me, I have not expressed that openly or anything that I love my Lord Jesus, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you never forget that, to be honest.
That you're a Christian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I never forget that.
Yeah. Not according to Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Not the evangelicals, please.
You're not a member of the Lutheran Crime Syndicate?
No. I guess you wouldn't know that because it would be like a hard fact. But that as I'm talking to you, that I did do my best.
Yeah.
You know, when I think back, and again, it revolved around you kids all doing things that you wanted to do, and mostly it turned out to be about the sports, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The maneuvering of all that was hell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was tough.
Yeah.
To make sure you know that you all had those opportunities to do the things, and at the same time, how could I get you everywhere, you know, and still have food, dinner, and blah.
Yeah.
And it was crazy making that you, as children growing up, you wouldn't be aware of that so much, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, but and I know somebody, what was it? Somebody said they did a spreadsheet. I was talking about she did a spreadsheet because she's living with her daughter
mm-hmm.
and raising her two boys, Whitney's two boys. Anyway, and I was thinking, oh yeah, I never had a spreadsheet.
So she has a spreadsheet of like where she used to be?
Yeah. Well, the youngest one, he's got some delays. And so therapy, you know, which type, is it PT or is it this or that, speech therapy, you know, all of that in order to keep things clear, you know, when to go where, because Pam has to take them there, you know.
Gotcha. Okay.
Whitney is working at the hospital, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, that reminded me, you know, we didn't have spreadsheets. I didn't make a spreadsheet. True. You know. The closest thing I came to a spreadsheet was when we had the four pockets and you each had the chores.
Yeah.
You know, that's as close as we came to a spreadsheet, I guess.
That's true. Right? I do vividly remember that.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
And the rotation, you know, it was Chris, Brian. It was always alternating. Somebody more capable, then the next person was less capable.
Yeah.
You know, because of their age, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. that was sort of strategic, you know.
Yeah, totally. We do that too. We just started to have Otto take out the garbage.
Oh, yeah.
And he loves it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm going to take... So he takes out his garbage, Opal's, in the bathroom. Yeah, he does a good job.
Good.
And he likes it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I promise you I will never forget that because I know you did the best. And I think you did a great job. And
I don't think I did do a great job, you know, but yeah, I don't think I did.
Well, there was nothing missing. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you ask what was missing,
mm-hmm.
I think maybe I wanted, like, Dad to be around a little more. But not necessarily just him, but... Because I think it would have helped you be more present too, like not knowing that in that moment, but having him be around a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it was different. Like it's.
Yeah, I mean, it was what it was, you know, and and it had to be that way.
And think about where. I think for me, the goal is always we want to improve upon where we came from, right?
Yes.
So I want to parent better than my parents did.
Yes.
You want to parent better than your parents.
Right, absolutely.
And if you think about the difference from you raising us to how your parents raised you, dramatic difference.
Dramatically, true.
From me to you,
Yeah.
to raising my kids, not so much a difference.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because
Not
I
as
learned
much.
a lot of core stuff from you and Dad.
Right.
But the lion's share of the weight and change from Victorian, raising kids in a Victorian manner,
Right.
child's meant to be seen, not heard.
Right.
That's a bigger jump. You know?
Right. Yeah. That's true. That is really true.
So you should pat yourself on the back for that.
Yeah.
And know that I will never forget that.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. Whenever I'm stressed out or whatever, I constantly think, how did my parents do it? Because, and the way I say that is because we're good. What you did was successful with 5 kids. And in those moments of challenge, I'm like, I'm having a hard time with 2. How the fuck did you do it? You know, so I totally recognize how hard it is.
How hard it
and
is,
how hard it was.
Yeah.
But also celebrate the fact that we're all different, unique people. We're all good. We don't have... I mean, I think about, like, other people who have, like, the family's broken apart over... They don't talk to each other anymore or blah, blah, this and that. I mean, I know there's tension in our family, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's I would say it's maybe simmering instead of, like, all out explosion with, you know, some of my siblings. But anyways, that's another whole
Well,
story.
I feel, well, that saddens me, of course, that there is some friction.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I recognize you're all different individuals.
Yeah.
That's why that phrase I can remember when people, you know, like you're expecting your 4th or your 5th. Well, you know what to do by now, right? How stupid that remark is, because they're all different. And so whatever worked for one doesn't work for the next one, and so on. You know, it's just, Anyway, then I think basically if one of you really is down and out, I think you would all rally for that person.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you may not like half of the stuff they do, but you would be there. Absolutely. If they needed you. You
absolutely.
know, yeah.
Totally.
I think I feel that way. I trust that's something that you guys all got from Mom and Dad. You know, down the road.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I really relish the opportunity I get to connect with my parents and to have that adult relationship. And I know my mom speaks about it in this episode quite a bit, but she didn't have that, right? And I feel privileged to be able to sit down with my mom and my dad and have these conversations. So thanks for joining me. And I hope that inspires those of you who maybe there are those of you out there who are your own family historians. But again, thanks so much for joining me. And until next time, I hope you get a chance to get outside and wake up beneath the stars.
Oh, it's only in your head. Oh, it's only in your head.
Campfire Wisdom is brought to you from the hills of Rancho Cucamonga. We'd like to thank the men and women that protect our national parks and forests. You make this journey possible. Theme music by Sean Cromwell.